I'm building a new layout and I have to transfer the plan that I made on the computer onto the Benchwork. This is how I did it. The first step was taking the layout and converting it into something that I could have printed out at my local print shop. The plotter at my print shop is 36 inches wide, so I took my layout and condensed it down so that it was 102 inches long by 36 inches wide. I did this so that it could be printed out as one piece of paper so that I didn't have to splice anything together. This way I was able to cut it all out, lay it out on my Benchwork, and then transfer it in a much easier way. I laid the print out in my hallway and began cutting it out. I then laid each of the pieces onto the Benchwork to see how they would fit. Everything was lining up pretty well. I decided to start with the staging. The method that I'm using to transfer the design onto the Benchwork is by using carbon paper. I lay the carbon paper under the print, and then I'm going to trace along all of the lines to transfer the design onto the Benchwork. I have already painted the Benchwork a light gray. This will help the carbon paper to show up after the transfer. I am using a Fisker's dual tip embossing stylus to transfer the layout to the Benchwork. I started the transfer completely freehand, but eventually I started using a ruler to make the lines as straight as possible. In addition to marking the track, I also marked where all of the joints of the track would be. This is going to enable me to help better identify where the curves end and the straight sections begin. This will also help me with the placement of all of the turnouts. Each section of the print was 8 feet long. In order to make it easier to work, I completed everything section by section. I used scissors to cut off the last piece that I've completed and moved on to the next. Before completing a section, I would ensure that I had transferred all of the lines, and if necessary, I would go back and re-go over some lines to make sure they were as clear as possible. There are moments when this process could be tedious, but I've found this process to work very well for me in the past. Although I am transferring the entire design to the Benchwork, it is my plan to install the main line and the runarounds first, and then go back and build out the yards. I will also need to go back at a later date and install the peninsula, as I do not have it installed at this time. The main yard took me the longest to transfer. I had to make sure that I had transferred all of the track lines to the Benchwork. Have you used this method of transferring your layout to Benchwork? What methods do you use? Please leave your methods in the comment section below. This felt like a big step forward, and I can't wait to start laying track. Thank you for watching. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.